Good afternoon. I'm a little bit late. I know I am, but I'm here. I've been out playing on my scooter. I bloody love it, you know. Do you know what? One thing, when you have your independence kind of taken away from you a little bit, like in terms of, like, say with me, disability, but I guess there's many reasons for that sort of stuff, but to then have that independence, it's made me feel electric, man. Honestly, I can't begin to explain. And I know it's one of those things that unless you go through it, you don't understand. But I find that having a level of understanding of what other people go through, I think it just makes me more empathetic. But I completely understand why younger people with disabilities are getting these scooters. I absolutely get it now. So I feel like there is a sort of broad message today about self-acceptance, and I feel also surrounding like independence. So if you have like recently gone through something that has sort of taken that away, and for whatever reason, the list could go on, but if you feel like life is starting to go on the up, but you could be a little bit sort of, you know, dubious, because we are, you know, especially when you've gone through persistent crap. So today I'm basing this reading on self-acceptance and life on the up. Okay, so starting off very strong. Sorry, I've just washed my hair, so it's all like, do you know what I mean? Anyway, so we've got the Page of Pentacles, the Chariot, the Ace. Whoa! Oh, the Ace of Pentacles. Don't know what's going on. It's raining, everything's falling down. Maybe that's how you've been feeling. Maybe, you know, you're at that point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. Yeah, it's really bringing that energy. And, you know, I mean, I'm so glad in a way that it is raining, because we need some rain in the UK. It's getting really muggy and horrible. But anyway, let me carry on. Right, then we've got the Knight of Swords and Temperance with the Six of Pentacles on the bottom. So let me put them back in order a minute. That was it. So, you know, you are on it, whether you feel it or whether you don't right now, but you are at that sort of like practical new beginning. It's like that's completely starting again energy, which, you know, I personally, it's horrible at the time, and, you know, you can't really see past whatever it is that you've got going on. But one thing that I find is that being able to completely start again means that you can absolutely transform your life and yourself. Yeah, it sort of gives you that oomph, you know. And then with the Chariot and the Ace of Pentacles, I feel like you've got a vision and you need to stick with it. Do I think that you're on your own right now? Preferably, because I feel like this is like I'm doing this and I'm doing it on my own, and I'm proud of doing it on my own. Do you get what I mean? You know, you could have a business, or you could want to start a business. There's something that you have or you've got coming in that is going to lead you to that success, you know. I think you're on a completely new journey, which is absolutely fabulous. Now, this is what I find interesting. So with the Knight of Swords and Temperance, it's like ultimate determination to find peace. And I absolutely 100% get that. You know, I think that one of the hardest things to fight for is peace. You know, because when the devil sort of snares, It can be really difficult, especially when you're a kind person, right? And you're willing to help people. And I feel like the Six of Pentacles is very much not just helping people, but helping people who really need it. You know, it's very sort of charitable in a way. But to be able to still be this kind, even when you've got all of this sort of going on, just shows how much of an incredible person you are. Now, I feel with this success, right, I feel like there's kind of like two very clear paths. And in a way, I kind of like, I feel confused. I feel conflicted more than anything. Now, my best bit of advice with stuff like this is that first little voice that you hear, that choice is the right choice, okay? Because the thing is, like when, before you've even so much as said something, it's like you've got the answer like that. That is the voice that you should be trusting, okay? Because that is just clear messages going straight through. But I feel like regardless of which way you want to go, I feel like both routes will be very, very successful. But I do think that I feel like one path is a lot more passionate than the other. You know, you've got two quite very different paths. But to be fair, I think, you know, coming out of as the Knight of Swords, like the Knight of Swords is extremely determined. You know, he has his vision and he bloody well goes for it, right? Which I love that in people. I love it when people just go, right, I want change and I want it now. And I'm going to do it now and I'm going to do it all on my own. Obviously, we can have help from other people, but in terms of our visions and our dreams, I feel like your confidence has got to a point where actually I can do this, you know. Actually, I do have this capability. I feel like you've really sort of dampened that negative, you know, like that negative thought process that we all go through at some point. And it's like you've quietened down those voices. And I just think that's amazing. And it's a bloody hard thing to do. Ten of Swords. Strength. Yeah, see, the strength that you've gained, and then the Queen of Pentacles. The strength, the thing is, the things that hurt us are really what pushes us into the highest version of ourselves, really, you know, because what that does is we have to heal, and healing gives you strength, right? It gives you confidence. And to then sort of like come into the Queen of Pentacles energy, it's kind of like, do you know what? I have stability and I will be stable and I will be successful. And I'm just going to sit on my throne and let it all unfold. I'm really, it's that witch's hat that she's put aside, you know? It's like you can, whatever defenses that you had, you can all put that aside. You know, I think worrying about everything going wrong is just putting out the wrong intentions. You know, you have to sort of stand strong with yourself. And King of Swords, it's using your intelligence. I think you're incredibly intelligent, to be honest. And then the Nine of Cups. It's, yeah, your intelligence and your wisdom is what is going to bring you to those wish fulfillments, you know. And as well, right, I've never really noticed this before, but see the cat and the crab? It's like, I feel like it's all about mixing with different people, different, you know, different crowds. And it's the independence, man. And the Three of Cups, you know, making new friendships. Amazing. Anyway, go to the next part.